Be seated, said the greffier. The President, the court is now in session. This morning, the proceedings concerning the fact of M13 was already underway, and the accused was asked some questions from our session. And to begin with, I would like to ask the officer of the detention facility to bring the the accused to the dock. The accused is allowed to sit down. Judge Levenge, this morning you asked questions to the accused. In our next proceedings, do you wish to ask him further questions? You still can have the floor.
Oui, Monsieur le Président, je souhaiterais pouvoir continuer.
Judge Levenge, I would like to continue putting questions to the accused. But first, I think for the proper administration of justice, the parties should be provided with the list of witnesses who have been called to appear before the court, while recalling that while these witnesses have not yet appeared, their names should remain confidential. Furthermore, in order to avoid difficulties, we are using pseudonyms. I think that we are going to distribute a list in which one column will have the names of the witnesses and the second column will have the pseudonyms. I recall once more that this is a confidential document which will be given to the defense and the accused, the co-prosecutors, and the civil party lawyers. Mr. President, if this is appropriate.
It is appropriate, says the President. You shall now resume.
Je précise.
Judge Laverne, I would like to add that unfortunately we only have an English version of this list. As soon as practicable, we would have a list in Khmer distributed.
Voilà, donc nous allons.
Judge Laverne continues. So we can proceed. This morning, the accused was asked what attributes caused him to be chosen to head the M13 Center. And I believe he said that it was because he was honest towards the party, that he was meticulous as well. Does the accused wish to add anything to his answer, or does he find that he has said everything he had to say on the subject?
The accused. I do not think that my answer is complete yet, but for the time being, I am trying to find any qualified material to inform to the court, but I can't think of it yet.
Sortie de détention.
George Lavergne. So when you came out of detention, did you go back to your family or did you go directly into the jungle?
The accused, I would like to also confirm, because yes, this morning I made my response in very short. Once again, I would like to emphasize that this morning I made it short in my response. On the 3rd, I came home, and it was dark already when I got home. I stayed at home for 3 weeks, and then I came to Phnom Penh to stay in my monastery number 3, as I used to do. On the day I conducted my revolutionary activities, it was in the daytime I conducted the revolutionary activities, but at night I stayed at the monastery until August, when I by the end of August, I was allowed to the liberated zone or sector. To Saang, Koh Thom area to conduct or to continue my revolutionary activities in Ksat Kandal district. Saang, Koh Thom is in Kandal province.
Vous faites
George Lavergne, you mentioned that you stayed in a Buddhist monastery. Did you have any particular beliefs?
The accused, I already told you in 1962, but I was not quite sure. From that year, I stayed at Buddhist monastery number 3 at Wat on Nalaum. I had stayed at this monastery from 1962, and the head of the monastery, Mr. Praj Pol, and I respected him so much. He was the high monk, and I liked him, and when I told him of my involvement in politics, he was about to beat me. When he learned that I was involved in politics, he was about to beat me, but when I told him the details, then he trusted me. This morning I briefly told you the information about this Buddhist monastery number 3. I had a lot to talk about it. My sentiment and relation at the the Buddhist monastery was deep because I treated my head monk as my father.
Vous aviez des sentiments.
George Laverne, you were drawn to this monk. You were deeply attached to him because you believed. Were you drawn to him because you were deeply attached to Buddhism?
The accused. Regarding the Buddhist belief, I would like to emphasize that my grandfather at my mother's side was a well-educated person in Buddhism. So I was influenced by him. The Buddhist theories have been well embedded in me, and I know a lot.
Est-ce que, selon vous,
George Laverne, in your view, I believe there are 9 or 10 commandments or precepts in Buddhism. Are these the same as those that applied in the Kampuchea Communist Party? If not, what was the principal difference?
The 10 precepts of Buddhists is based on the main principle. One principle which is about killing animal. Killing an animal is a kind of sin. But the communist theory is different from this. According to the communist theory, the love of the people, the true love of the people, or for the people, is to give the absolute rights to the workers' class. I would like to confirm the true communist theory is that the true love for the people is the true love for the people is to provide the absolute ability to implement the proletariat class.
Your Honor, the real love of the people is to give the proletariat to realize themselves.
The accused, therefore, it is different from the Buddhist theory.
vous avez dit que les préceptes du
George Laverne, you said that the precepts of Buddhism were based really on the prohibition from killing animals. Does that apply only to animals, or does that extend to human beings?
អំពើឌៀនដែលចេះទីនេះ
The accused said, you can say human beings. Judge Lavergne, you tell us that you stayed with your family, after which you went into the jungle, and we would place that at around April or May 1970, or would it be later?
The accused. When I left my home and returned Phnom Penh, it was on the 25th of April 1970. I left Phnom Penh for Saang Koh Thum in August 1970.
Qui est-ce que vous retrouvez?
Judge Lavergne, whom did you meet in the jungle? Did you meet somebody that you mentioned before, that is Chai Kim Oo? Could you tell us about Chai Kim Oo?
The accused. I was separated actually from Chai Kum Hua in 1967 when I first went to the jungle. He also went to the jungle, but to a different part, to Phnom War or War Mountain. But I was sent by the party to Chomkale district, Kampong Cham province. After being released from the prison, I already was apart from Chai Kum Hua. So I was aparted from Chai Kum Hua.
Est-ce que vous l'avez retrouvé plus tard?
Judge Lavergne, did you meet him later?
The accused. When I came back from Saang Koh Thum to the southwest, I met Brother Chai Kum Ho, the chairman of the office of the southwest zone.
Quel était le nom de ce...
Judge Lavergne, what was the name of that office and what was it used for?
The accused, it was called the office 201 or 201.
Qu'est-ce qu'on faisait dans ce bureau?
What happened in this office, asks Judge Lavergne.
The accused. It was the administrative office at the southwest, chaired by Tamok.
Quand vous dites un bureau administratif, des fonctions de...
When you say it was an administrative office, did it include police and security duties?
The accused, the committee, the zone committee for all provinces. So this office is the place where documents were kept. I would like to say again, the zone committee manage all matters, including the militaries, the police, and inventories and logistics. People as for the zone office was for storing documents. Sometimes the chairman of this office would have the authority to order on behalf of others. Sometimes the chairman of the zone could order the other zone, but based on the order from the zone committee.
Let me clarify. The zone chairman, the zone chairman himself, the chairman of the zone office did not have his own personal power, but he conveys the order from the zone committee. That's all.
Judge Lavergne, in Office 201, were people detained?
The accused. In Office 201, there was only an administrative office. If they wanted to detain people, people were sent to M13.
Were you aware of the existence of security centers, or where people could be detained or interrogated? When did you become aware of a policy, of this particular policy of the CPK back then?
Your Honor, says the accused, could you please clarify your question?
I wanted to know if you had received information concerning the existence of security centers that put into practice decisions from the CPK.
The accused, I have already informed Your Honor in the morning while I was at Sector 25. It was at Saang, Koc Thung. I saw a police office led by Comrade Kaing. It was under the leadership of Comrade Kaing. And when I went to this southwest zone, I met one of my old friends. His name was Tang Kait. He was responsible for a police office. I cannot recall his location. Oh, it was in Tro Peng Chu. So it means I saw two police offices before the establishments of the M13. One was at Kothom, and the other one was at Tro Peng Chu. Normally, I heard from the struggling armed struggle during the 1945 to 1954. There were also police officers. Let me clarify that. From what I had heard and from our talking within the rank of the party, therefore, before the establishment of M13, there was a historical background. And I witnessed and heard about the two police offices before the M13 establishment.
Est-ce que vous pouvez nous dire si vous avez simplement entendu de ces commissariats?
If you only heard about these police centers, or did you actually see what happened there? Because earlier on you said, I saw in a police station that was managed by Comrade Feng. So if you have seen, could you tell us what you saw? Could you tell us what happened, what you saw of what happened?
The accused. The word was incorrect.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. J'indique simplement que l'accusé tenant le micro ouvert.
The accused had the microphone open and answered the questions directly in French after they were asked. This does not make it possible for the translation to follow. So for the transcription to be clear, the accused should close his microphone so that the question can be translated properly and so that the transcript can be clear. I'm sorry, I don't think that that's the problem. I think that the accused is listening to the translation in his headset, and he speaks again in French when the translation was not correct. This is what happens. So we do have a problem of translation, as I said this morning. I think that he understands French, and he starts answering before the end of the translation, in Khmer maybe. So I'd just like to ask for the accused to please wait for the end of the question to be translated, and this might allow him to take a bit of time so that the translation can flow normally.
The President. Let me make this proceeding run smoother. For the questioning to the accused, after you respond, please switch off your microphone and then listen to the next line of questioning of the judge. And this morning, we noticed the request regarding the language. and whether the geographical names could be appeared in French or in the Khmer language so that it can appear on the screen. However, at this stage, this cannot be implemented yet. We need to consult it with the relevant sections regarding the image and the feasibility in order to facilitate this proceeding. And we will consider this matter at the end of today's hearing. And that will be for the next day hearing and for the future hearings. Regarding the translation, we have noticed in the past, this is not just the first day, regardless of the technicality and the ability to translate. Because this is a translation technical issue and it's difficult, and we try to remind all the parties to be accurate, to be precise in the questioning or in the response or in any other matters, to be slow and short enough for the interpreters to do their job. However, because it is the start of the proceedings, and every one of us, including the chamber itself, is not accustomed to the arrangement with the complication of translating into various languages. This is our experience, and we need to work through this proceeding. Let me continue. Judge Jean-Marc, the floor is yours.
Judge Lavergne. So, if I understood correctly what you just said, you said that you knew that before M13 there had been 2 police centers. You also indicated that you had met at least one of your comrades called Kaing or Teng, I don't exactly know, who was running a police center. You also spoke about another comrade of yours called Teng Ket. Is this information correct?
The accused. The historical events that I just described to Your Honor, this event was from 1945 to 1954. The Isra Yit Minh movement already had police offices for executing people. That was the history. Second, from what I knew clearly, Meng Sam Nang, alias Kaing, was the head of the police office in Sector 25. It was established in December 1970. This is what I informed Your Honors this morning. When I was assigned to work as a policeman, I was afraid, and then I went to the superiors. Because the superior who managed Sector 25, Butmani, he violated the party's principle, arresting the members, the party members, to be put in prison without seeking permission from the center. That's what I knew. But I myself did not enter the office to see the handcuffs, etc. But I knew about this organization. I fled to the southwest and met some of my old friends, Miss Kaing, who was a teacher. He was the head of the police office. And his office was in Tro Pang Chu. It's one of the police offices of the sector. I think it was sector 32 of the southwest zone. So that was the event I raised regarding these two police offices, which means there were two police offices that I knew clearly before the establishment of M13. So I described two events. One was a historical event and another event that I myself heard personally.
Judge Laverne, what was the exact mission of these police officers? And if interrogations took place there, how were these interrogations conducted?
The accused, the interrogation at